What's up, boys? The other day in my replay analysis forum in my Discord, the player known as Marcius submitted a replay analysis for me. So, what does he say? He says that he's a 4K Terran from EU. His opponent is a little bit higher at 4100. He defended the early game 2-gate Stalker push, and thanking me for my explanation. And then he went 2 Banshees in response and did a lot of damage. But he ended up losing versus High Templars, and he says he did Endless Storms, and every skirmish he ended up losing. He believes his macro was a bit off because of low gas, no lib / ghosts, and I think also maybe he should have split his army. So, we're going to find out what he could have done better. Let's get into it. So, I have the replay here. And we're just going to go ahead and start it off. I watched a little bit of it, and I think that this is a good replay for learning how to play TvP. Now, we go for the SCV scout. We scout both pylons. We scout the double gate. Alright, we're going to go ahead and grab our factory. We are going to get our starport as well. Now, the first thing is that the factory and starport are really close to the adepts here. So I recommend building the factory and starport back here. The most ideal spot is factory here and starport here. And this is so that way you can have a blink wall later. But also, you don't want the adepts to be able to scout this because he's already scouting a 1-1-1. Which, I mean, doesn't really matter, but ideally you don't allow him to scout this, right? Now there's adepts in our natural, along with these 2 stalkers, but this is completely fine. We are up workers, and our natural is faster, so we're just really far ahead here, especially with the cyclone coming out. This is a great response versus double gate. We're also going for the Banshees here, which is a cool response. I think that this is completely fine. I think that Cloak or Hyperflight Rotors are good with this. Getting the tank on the low ground, getting our deep boats. Everything here looks good. The macro maybe could have been a little bit cleaner, but this is completely fine. And we are going to have some Banshee damage here. Now, with the Banshees, we scout the Templar Archives. As soon as you scout Templar Archives, you immediately go Ghost Academy. Any sign of Ghost? Ghost Academy. Or sorry, not any sign of Ghost. Any sign of High Templar? Immediately Ghost Academy. So we're going to take a look and see when you actually end up getting that Ghost Academy, and you should not push unless if you already have Ghosts, versus what he's doing. Now, with that said, we've killed 16 workers, we are up 20 workers, this game is done and dusted. We have gotten a substantial advantage, looks like we're even going to kill some more workers, and our third base is on the way. So, where is the Ghost Academy? Also, hold on. So we go single eBay into third base. Okay. Everything here is fine. Everything here is fine. Combat shield, it looks like we forgot combat shield for a while, but we don't have to be perfect, especially not at 4K. It's alright. But what we do need to do is know when we need our Ghost Academy. So when are we actually going to get this? I know you saw it, right? You did indeed see the High Templar. And we're going for a push. Okay. So, if we want to go for a push versus High Templar, it is very dangerous. Our opponent does not have blink, he went charge. Now, versus this, drop plays are very, very good. And blink is not a very good option from our opponent here. And the reason why is because stalkers don't scale well. If he got blink, he would have a hard time because charge is much more important during this stage of the game. So, we need to go for a drop in the main base because we saw the Templar Archives and we saw the fact that, you know, he played double gate and he's just not going to have blink. If he does, it's pretty strange and it's probably winning for you anyways because he's going to be overmaking stalkers. So what you would do is you would pick up, drop in the base, and there's 2 High Templar here, which is good for him. Now, when you see that, you just pick up and leave. Maybe you kill like this pylon or something. Maybe you kill a couple of workers. And you don't need to push elsewhere. You can just do your drop, and you can push elsewhere, but it's not necessary. I recommend what you do is you'll keep your army like outside of his base, do your drop, and then if he recalls, which is very popular, then you can push in with the main army, right? And just pick up and leave with your double medevac drop. Now in this position, we are up in a lot of supply. We are equal in upgrades, but we don't have any ghosts, and that is a big issue. In TvP, we really need to make sure that we have the right army. It's super important. You could have way more upgrades, you could have way more supply, but if you don't have the right army, it doesn't matter, especially versus Protoss. So we come in, we take a good fight, but it's just, we're not doing enough here, right? At that point, we should have just stayed at home and maxed out with 2-2 and Ghosts if we were going to take a fight like that, right? So that's the first thing. Now also, we need to scan for this observer, but I don't blame you for not seeing this. Where is our Ghost Academy? Okay, so we finally got the Ghost Academy. Are there ghosts on the way? There are ghosts. Wait, are there ghosts in the army? Okay, there's ghosts in the army. Nice. And we're gonna, wait. So we're hitting an anti-timing here. Why are we pushing before we're maxed and before we have 2-2? It just doesn't make any sense, right? Why not just max out with 2-2? This is a crazy run by over here, by the way. Yeah, just gonna kill our base, but we're gonna kill his base. And yeah, our army is just really bruised. We're doing nicely. We're doing nicely. We're winning this game. I still think that we're ahead. We are up about 2 upgrades. Crazy storms though. And yeah, this is just rough. So StarCraft has a lot of little things that add up. Doing this push over here, I think, really actually hurts you because you kind of let your opponent have enough time to catch up by doing that. I would recommend at this point as well, like, first of all, you should not be pushing here. You're just hitting an anti-timing. Like why? It doesn't really make sense. I would wait for when we actually are at 2-2 and when we are maxed, we go ahead and push here. Also, we like don't even have the planetary up. It would have been really nice to do that. So at this point, when we're maxed out with 2-2, I recommend dropping the main, right? He has 2 High Templar here. That's fine. We just drop the main, and honestly, we can pre-split and beat 2 High Templar, 2 full energy High Templar, with a double drop, right? Like, the storm lasts a long time, but it doesn't deal a lot of damage. So you can come in, like, kill these pylons. Maybe he'll warp in here, and you can just boost away. And if the Templar are, like, coming too far forward, you can just kill them, right? If you kill this pylon, that's very nice, because you'll cancel Blink. Well, you won't cancel it, but you'll delay it. And also, you can drop here as well. Like, there's no High Templar here. And this is a great spot to drop. And the reason why we're dropping is because our opponent is high Templar, high Zealot count. And he doesn't have Stalkers, and we know he doesn't have Blink. Right? So that gives us an excuse to drop. Now, let's watch this fight again in slow motion here. Storm lasts forever. Okay. Not fighting in Storm. Nice. And we kill this base. And then after we kill this base, I think we should just back off. What I would do, kill this base, scan here, and then just back off and try to defend the 3rd. And the reason is because we have a 4th base, and our opponent doesn't. This is massively winning for Terran. Just max out, make sure we have a good number of ghosts, and make sure we get 3-3 on time, and throw down a 2nd starport, along with a fusion core, and start producing libs. So we have a 2nd starport. Do we have a fusion core? It does not look like it. That's okay. If you forget the fusion core, that's fine. But you should get it with the 2nd starport. And we should just back off here. Like, we should not fight into this more, because we're winning economically. There's no reason to do this. This is how you overcommit and die. Like, fighting really a lot in the storms, and we're still pushing despite being massively bruised. Like, why not just pull back? Like, our army is massively bruised. We don't have any Marines. Marines is where all of our damage comes from. Ghost auto attack is pretty good. Widow Lines deal a lot of damage, but we don't have any Marines here. It seems silly because, you know, Marines get hard countered by Splash, but The goal in TvP is to disable all of the splash, and then your Marines will just destroy everything. So the fact we don't have any Marines here is really concerning. And we're just getting massively stormed, lose our whole army. And now we're losing a timing. So we should have 3-3 on the way, and we should have a really big army, and we should be maxed right now as well. And then we can go and attack the third base when we have a nice big army that's fully healed, right? But now it's like we're having a really hard time because we're not trading well, man. Like, that's the issue, is that we're hitting anti-timings, we're hitting without ghosts, we're pushing into bases when we're winning economically. All of these things lead up to us losing the game. So this game is not lost, by the way. We are actually still winning. We're not up in workers, but we have a fourth base, and this is really, really good. Just sit back and max out. It's okay to do that. Especially if, so, like, if you're ahead, you can make this move, but if you're behind, this is your only chance. If you're maxed out and have 2-2 at least, or 3-3 with a good army, you always have a chance versus Protoss, even if your early game went really poorly, right? That's the only way that you can win the game when you're behind, so it's a great way to win the game when you're ahead. So we're going to get a nice EMP there. But we just only have one, we have 2 ghosts, like, versus so many High Templar. Nice EMP. And yeah, there's a lot of storms. Now versus this, just pull back and hit the other base, right? You could even set up a drop here, right? So your rally should be at this depot, or you could rally it here, I guess. And you should be making medevacs as well versus High Templar. So you can actually use your rally, pick up with a 2 medevac drop full of like Marauders. Even you could have a Ghost in there and Marines, and drop this base as you're attacking the front here, right? That's a great way to multi-prong, is just by having your main army and then using your rally to set up a multi-prong, right? He's just zoning you with the storms. Just sit outside, exist, and drop this base, and he doesn't have anything here, right? You don't need to multi-prong to win this game, but if you are going to play like this, where you're attacking before you're maxed, and you're just kind of existing, that's what you should be doing. But we're going really deep into the base. We have a lot of ghosts, though. We're owning, doing very well, but there's so many zealots, right? So this is what I'm talking about, where we've disabled all of the High Templar energy, but we don't have any Marines to deal with everything else. And we just, quite frankly, don't have enough army anyway. So that's rough. Now, we're still up in supply. Okay. We're doing great. We have another base over here. We are ahead in workers. We forgot 3-3. So we really want 3-3 on the way. 3-3 is great. Ship weapons is good as well. Still no fusion core. Yeah, still no fusion core. So at this point, you're not mining your gases at the 4th, which is a mistake, but we're going into the late game here. Like, this is a 17-minute game. We need Liberators with lib range and +2 ship weapons. If we look, we have +1 ship weapons, +2 ship weapons is on the way. We need to have Liberators with lib range on the way with these upgrades as well. Otherwise, +2 ship weapons is useless. And we have a good medevac count. I would say maybe 2 more medevacs would be great. And yeah, these storms are kind of really wrecking us. But once again, why not just drop over here? Like, we have a beautiful rally right here. We have no medevacs, but even if we don't have medevacs, we could just send this army over here. And it's like, yeah, he has High Templar, but, you know, we can still make something happen, especially if our army is heavy Marauders. Now, I get that this style is really difficult to play against, but, you know, this is just not the way to do it. We don't want to allow him to play this way, right? Like, we've never maxed out. We really, like, it's surprising to me that we haven't maxed out in a 20-minute game. And then we're just getting rolled by zealots. Why are we getting rolled by zealots? Because we just don't have any marines. Like, we should not be losing to zealots at this point in the game. Now, you are going for the multi-prong, but notice how you got cleaned up over here? It's just because we gave them too much time. That's really it. We're floating a lot of money as well. We're not producing any units. Any units. Like, what is going on here? And it's like, see, even though he had High Templar with a shit ton of storms, we're still doing well with these Marauders, right? Even though we like took a bad fight, if we didn't have a bad fight over here, he wouldn't be able to send his entire army over here, right? So you can kind of see how that would work. And yeah, at this point, we're behind. We have to max out. That's our only chance. Multi-pronging I don't think will work because there is High Templar at every base now, literally like what you were saying. And yeah. Let's just put it on 8 times speed, see what you do. So we're making Liberators and Lib Range, nice. Dark Templar are a really big issue in the late game, especially because they got buffed. And we're still not maxed out. Why are we pushing when we're not maxed? I don't understand it. We're trying to take this space, but we can't. We're fighting here. Okay. Alright, we're going into a base trade. This is probably good for Protoss just because of how many High Templar he has. Massive warping into the main. And yeah, now you're forced into an all-in. Okay. So, biggest mistakes is just deciding when we're taking fights. It's not necessarily army composition, although that is the issue. It's that we're taking fights at weird times. When we're not maxed out, when, you know, we've killed a base, we're ahead economically, and that first fight as well, we had no ghosts. We really needed ghosts with the first fight. If you had just saw the High Templar or the Templar Archives, got ghosts and 2/2 and just camped at home, you would have 100% won. Like, I know that Storm ignores armor upgrades, but like, you were so far ahead in multiple points. Just stay at home and max out, bro. Like, make sure your macro doesn't slip. Make sure you don't forget your fusion core. I don't think that macro was the issue this game. I think that we just really needed to make sure that we had the right army and we were fighting at the right time. And that's all we needed. If we wanted to do drops, we could have done that, but that's not why we lost. That's an extra layer when we get higher level, right? And, you know, you can express yourself as, I'm just going to max out with 2/2 and he can't beat me because I'm so far ahead. Or, I'm going to multi-prong him and he can't beat me because he doesn't have enough units. We're so far ahead. Like, both of these are solutions, but you got to pick one. And you got to really, really make sure that you're not hitting poor timings, basically. Alright, so I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.